In Europe, cannabis-based tinctures. What's a tincture? I want to look up the technical definition of a tincture. That's a word that we need to bring back, a tincture. A tincture is a concentrated liquid herbal extract. This is like doTERRA moms. Welcome back to Privy. Privy is a podcast about bathrooms, recorded from my home bathroom. I'm your host, Hunter Hoover, and I love bathrooms. Welcome back, everyone. We are nearing the end of April. Allergy season is real. Also, if you can't hear it, and I talk both for a living and for a hobby, which is great. And about month and a half or so ago, I lost my voice, and it's never really fully recovered. And so you are getting the tail end of that. Coupled that with, I guess this could be a Hoovy's anecdote, a Hunter's anecdotes, if you will. I don't know if we need to play the stinger for the whole thing here, but in short, so I currently have my wisdom teeth in my face. It's a blessing. It's a blessing in the sense that I did not have to have them taken out. Praise God. And with wisdom teeth, my dentist has encouraged me to use a floss pick, a water flosser. And so I have that, and I use it. I don't use it as often as I should. Sorry, Dr. Knudsen. But, I'm probably 2 to 4 times a week I'll remember to use it. Well, I remembered to use it a couple nights ago, and I'm here to tell you that I had the pressure turned up all the way, and I decimated part of my gums that I'm not used to water flossing. Total blood city. And it still hurts. It hurts to, navigate my mouth. We're dealing with all sorts of oral failures. But in the middle of water flossing my face, my water pick, the hose on it sprung a leak, and it was just shooting all over the bathroom, just spraying everywhere. I had water all over the place, and it's like, dang it, for real? And I looked it up, and you can replace the hose, but the hose replacement thing is almost as much as buying a new water flosser. I've had this thing for probably 5 or 6 years. I tossed it. We're done. We're moving it on down the line. But it's the end of April, and you've hopefully survived spoopky season. No, not spoopky season. Prank season. And I hope you enjoyed the episode that we did with Pedro last episode. We release episodes on the 5s here on Privy. I don't know if I've talked about this much, which means that every day that ends in a 5, 15, and 25, see, there's no 35s because no month has that many days. It's basic math. But we release episodes on the 5s, and what that means is sometimes holiday, quote unquote, holiday observances fall before or after the actual happenings and observances here on the pod. And that's okay, It's okay. We're in the ballpark. We're always within a week. That's what I found. But earlier this week, at the point of this episode's release, was 420. And there's nothing funny about the number 420. 120. But this is a podcast about bathrooms. We made it, and I'm going to be honest with you. I thought about waiting until episode 420. Maybe there's something special out there. That's a ways down the line. The way that I'm moving, that's years down the road, 10 years down the road. But I wanted to, for this episode, in getting so close to the day 4-20, again, there's nothing significant about the number. It's a podcast about bathrooms, and it's only a matter of time before we ventured into a discussion that was a little more lofty, a little more extended upwards, a little higher than what we normally get into. This episode of Privy, we're going to look at the history and use of CBD, the rainy day kush, the electric lettuce, Satan's spring mix, marijuana. Use of the herb as medicine and extracurricular activities goes back centuries. And in the month of pranks, it has reared its ugly head via an outlet that is perhaps almost outlives itself. And we're going to find out there's a number of bathroom concerns related to the use of marijuana and CBD. Original use and the first recorded use of cannabis, that's the science hoogity boogity word for the weeds, goes back to 2700 BC. This is the earliest documented use of cannabis. It is likely used before then, but it just wasn't documented. And it goes back to Emperor Shen Nong. Missed opportunity. Could have been Shen Bong, but here we are. Shen Bong, the Nong farmer, was known as the divine farmer. He's said to have brewed cannabis-infused tea, and this was given to people to treat things like gout and malaria and rheumatoid arthritis. He had some very special tea. And so it really goes back, the first recorded use is in ancient China. After that, the next use that we read about comes to us from the Egyptians. And I want to know, we've talked about the Egyptians and their wild uses of medicine here on the show before. Go check those episodes out. You can go to Privy. We have a searchable feature. If you go to the episodes page, you can actually search. If you just type in Egypt or Egyptian, it'll bring up all our episodes where we've talked about these Egyptian medical treatments. Wild things that they're doing with poo out there. But these findings come to us from none other than the Ebers Papyrus. We're back. The Ebers Medical Papyrus. It's like our weird, strange, kind of creepy uncle that shows up every now and then for a holiday or birthday, and we know him. The Ebers Medical Papyrus. We've talked about this so much. In the Medical Papyrus, this Egyptian papyrus that was found, they document the use of cannabis for pain reduction, eye care such as glaucoma and other eye infections, and women may have used cannabis treatments for menstrual pain and childbirth. That one's wild. Cannabis use for childbearing seems as if the baby's going to come out fully zooted and suited. Later, in 1000 BC India, Ayurveda, whatever, probably some Hindu thing, you know what I'm saying, had spiritual uses, was known as bhang, B-H-A-N-G. You see where we get that. And was considered a sacred Hindu tradition. So remember, potheads and merry dopers everywhere. When you use the phrase bong, it's likely cultural appropriation. That's why they call it hitting the bong. Here we are. I don't know anything. This is like when the principal's rolling in and he's pretending like he vapes in order to figure out who does. I don't use this stuff. Sorry, not sorry. But it was used for relaxation and spiritual awareness, spiritualism, which aligns with modern claims that CBD has calming effects. These ancient texts also claim, and this is where we're going to try to focus in more on these type things as we explore cannabis and CBD's use related to the bathroom. It was a remedy for pain, digestive issues, and so those digestive issues, it, relieves those, and other mental disorders. Ancient Greece and ancient Rome recognized cannabis as a type of medicine. Greek physician Hippocrates wrote about the medicinal properties of the plant. And it's believed that Roman warriors may have used cannabis-based preparations for wound healing. And what's weird is then it's mostly radio silent. That is until the Middle Ages and into the 19th. The biggest mark on the timeline map for cannabis and marijuana use is in the 10th to 18th century. Now that's a big stretch of time. But in this time, cannabis was used in Islamic medicine and in other European herbal remedies. Islamic scholars and physicians, including Ibn Sina, not sure, probably said it wrong, sorry everybody, they wrote about it in the Canon of Medicine, noting that it helps with pain, seizures, and nausea. It's helping things in the bathroom. It's helping calm digestional stress. It's helping calm and settle your tum-tum. Some Muslim dudes getting super cooked. I always thought weed made you nauseous. Maybe if it's to get too much, I don't know. Oh well. In Europe, cannabis-based tinctures. What's a tincture? I want to look up the technical definition of a tincture. That's a word that we need to bring back, a tincture. A tincture is a concentrated liquid herbal extract. This is like doTERRA moms. made by soaking plant material in alcohol or vinegar to extract its... This is... Anytime a doTERRA mom comes at you, ask them if they homemade or if they purchased their tinctures. See what they say about it. But these tinctures were used for headaches, pain relief, and, here we are again, digestive issues. We're going to get into the specifics a little later about what specifically this cannabis was helping with in the digestive system. And this is the beginning of really where we get interested in cannabis and CBD. It was really something, it's like 1,000-year span of time. Like, a lot can happen. And I think much of this goes undocumented. I think it's one of those things where these dudes out east, coming from the east, you have Asian medicine, you have Egyptian medicine, you have Islamic medicine. And the use of this plant exists in the East, but it's not until really the mid-1800s that it is even recognized by Western medicine as like a feasible thing that can and will help you. That is, until Irish physician William B. O'Shaughnessy, physician O'Shaughnessy, studied cannabis while working in India. And then later brought some of that back. He's drug smuggling at this point, boys. And he brought it back to Britain and introduced. They got hooked on the kush. O'Shaughnessy documented its effectiveness in treating muscle spasms, pain, and epilepsy. And these are all, I will note, treatments that people use CBD for today in cannabis and marijuana and the such. O'Shaughnessy later... Because he introduced the plant to Europe, if we jump forward to Queen... And I'm giving us a 30,000-foot view. Like, we're way up high. You know what I'm saying? Super high. Way up there. High. Up. 30,000 foot. Queen Victoria's personal physician, Sir J.R. Reynolds. So you have this Irish fellow, William B. O'Shaughnessy, which is just... the most gangster Irish name, O'Shaughnessy, O'Shaughnessy, you know what I'm saying? And then you have this just super buttoned up British sounding Sir J.R. Reynolds. Flippin' dude's got a crumpet lodged right up the backside. You know that he's sneaking crumpets. You know he's baked some goof into his crumpet. And then yumped it. He yumping the crumpet. Got to hump it to crumpet. You know what I'm saying? But he reportedly prescribed Queen Victoria cannabis extract to alleviate her menstrual cramps. Now, during this period, you get it? Because of the menstrual cramping that Queen Victoria was doing. But it's also called the Victorian period, which he used marijuana to alleviate. During this time, cannabis-based medicine were sold in pharmacies across the U.S. and Europe as a remedy for pain, inflammation, and sleep disorders. Here's what we can learn. Queen Victoria, big fan of the goofy grass, the fisherman's crabgrass, if you will. In the 90s, cannabis-based medicines were much more common in the U.S. and Europe. Major pharmaceutical companies sold these tinctures for medical use. Many other medicines contain CBD, as cannabis plants naturally have various amounts of cannabinoids. Now, I want to note here, there is this, I think, misconception held by me for a long time that anything related to hemp or marijuana is designed to get you high. And as I do my research, and I'm sure there is a plethora of marijuana enthusiasts that if I get this wrong, I'll hear it. If I've learned one thing, people who smoke weed are on the internet habitually. But CBD does not get you high. In fact, CBD is in many ways the medical component of cannabis or marijuana. C is the stuff that gets you hooty zooty soft and pooty. Do you know what I'm saying? So the CBD is the thing that is in use to various amounts. However, the 1920s and the 1930s brought about the Prohibition era here in the United States. Alcohol was illegal, or at least the making and selling of it. Consequently, something we don't talk about much, but the Prohibition era outlawed more than just alcohol. The Marijuana Tax Act began to restrict cannabis use. In 1937, the United States Marijuana Tax Act restricted cannabis by imposing strict regulations, effectively banning, including hemp-derived compounds like CBD, in the U.S. It's a classic tax to get the thing go away. If you tax the thing into oblivion, people will seek out cheaper and easier to come by means. Anti-cannabis propaganda, including the infamous film Reefer Madness, fueled public fear of marijuana. Now, this is a classic baby with the bathwater, and I'm not getting into the moral argument for marijuana. I am simply saying that marijuana, cannabis, has a component to its structure that can be scientifically shown to provide medical benefits such as pain relief, digestional alleviation, and other, like it's good for epilepsy. The number of things that it can alleviate, not treat, alleviate is extent. Now, what I will say is this. Ibuprofen alleviates. It does not treat anything. It can treat inflammation, but like if you don't fix the thing that is causing the inflammation will return. So ibuprofen alleviates. Zyrtec, allergy medication, alleviates. It does not treat my allergies. It does not make them go away. It simply tells my brain, hey, chill the frick out with the histamines. This idea that if a thing simply alleviates, then it's not treating, it's a baby in the bathwater. Now, the trouble is that if you have an unsanctioned market, not hallucinogenic, but the effects of marijuana, the THC side, are coupled with that to the extent that people are using it as recreational drug. In fact, 40 years after the Marijuana Tax Act, in the 70s, marijuana and cannabis became recognized as a Schedule I drug in the United States. Under the Controlled Substances Act of 1970, cannabis was classified as a Scheduled I drug, meaning that they considered it to, quote, have no medicinal value and a high potential for abuse. Now, as we have just said, I do not enjoy the goofy greens, but I will note that is not true. It does have some medicinal value. Now, it does have a high potential for abuse. I would agree with that. But to say that it does not have medicinal value is not true. This classification made it extremely difficult, not only for people to get marijuana, cannabis, but also for people to study it and figure out if there's other things that can be accomplished and done with parts of marijuana. During this period, between the 90s and the 1970s, Roger Adams, a scientist, an American chemist, isolated the compound CBD for the first time. Scientists didn't really understand the structure of CBD until the 1960s, where Raphael MacLeod identified the chemical structure. Raphael MacLeod was an Israeli scientist, my dude, considered the father of cannabis research, and he identified the complete chemical structure of CBD. A year later, in his research, he discovered THC and differentiated it, confirming that CBD is non-psychoactive. It does not cause a high. THC is the part that gets things going a bit fuzzy. That discovery was made in the last 100 years. In the 1990s, within the human body, it was the system that reacts with cannabis was discovered. The endocannabinoid system was discovered and helps explain how CBD affects pain, anxiety, inflammation, and other bodily functions. There's a part of our brain that has receptors for these things. Now, I know there's this argument that says, well, if we have receptors in our brain that are designed for that, then obviously we ought to be getting it. Now, you have receptors in your brain that are designed to feel good when you eat sugar, or that are designed to feel good when you do all sorts of things. And that doesn't mean that you should be doing those things all the time, or that is the only way you can get those receptors to fire. Okay? There's multiple options here. But in 2013, a Charlotte's Web strain gained national attention. A young girl named Charlotte Fiji suffered from severe epilepsy, Dravet syndrome, and she began to find relief using CBD oil. Now, this caused an explosion in attention and the use of medical, you've heard the term medical marijuana, and it helped shift public perception back to this idea that cannabis does have a medical component to it. And in 2015, the FDA granted the first CBD-based clinical trials. And they began using and allowing for research to be done on patients with epilepsy who have been given and allowed to use CBD. In the 2018 Farm Bill, it legalized hemp-derived CBD products as long as they contain less than 0.3% THC in the U.S. This led to an explosion in edibles, oils, skincare, and pet products containing CBD. Before diving in here, we're going to look at one of these products. I want to make a comment regarding to what the medical side of all this suggests. Marijuana or cannabis does seem to be used to treat some bathroom-related ailments. And in all this research, I got the dregs. Ooh. But in all this research, it seems like one of these uses would have been the treatment of gastrointestinal distress, specifically stomach aches related to constipation. How this works is CBD, but cannabis in general, relaxes things, and it actually causes the muscles of the tummy to relax. And in relaxing, it can be helpful in passing the big one. I like the idea of some zooted potty just flopping the fattest grumpy because they've been smoking too much ganj. It's like they get so high that their tummy just like relaxes, and then they just pop just a cork pop a turd right out the beehole. But what's weird enough is, and it's somewhat curious to me, is while it relaxes things, the drug does not speed up your digestion. It actually slows digestion. And it accomplishes its bathroom effects through a relaxation instead. But our purposes today are not to explore the gastrointestinal effects of marijuana. It could also, I will also note, using marijuana or CBD or THC or however you intake this can also mess up your microbiome in your stomach. It can also cause heartburn, indigestion, as it can mess with the amount of stomach acid that is being produced. So it's not that it's not without, it has no consequences. There's consequences. As we near the end of our episode today, I want to discuss a product that recently came to my attention, and I want to discuss the discoveries that I have made related to this product. For those of you who join us regularly, last month I did our first ever ranked, wherein I ranked 11 of the best toilet papers on the market to determine which was Privy's #1 toilet paper. Go check out that episode. And I still have just the onslaught of toilet paper that I got to work through. I still got every brand. I'm still working through it. I'm still working through that Scott 1000. Absolute trash. We're working through it, though. You know, we're getting over it. But during that time, as I was researching different toilet papers, something kept popping up, and that was the concept of CBD-infused toilet paper. Now, as I began research, I looked into this, and I was like, ooh, this would be a good thing to like discuss in a future episode. This could be cool. So I went in the notes list, and I was like, 420s around the corner. Let's do that. And as cannabis-based products have gained popularity in all sorts of different aspects of our lives, cannabis-infused toilet paper was bound to happen, right? It appears that this product was introduced in the early 2020s. And I'm going to get into that because as I read this and looked at it, and it even has like a product page. It was sold out. But there was a product page by NordicBotanics.com, and I was like, oh man, that's interesting. I should buy some and just see. And so I started to research, like, oh, what are the benefits of CBD infused toilet paper? And some of the benefits they claim it's designed to provide potential benefits beyond regular toilet paper by incorporating CBD into the toilet paper itself. It soothes, has anti-inflammatory effects to calm down sensitive skin or irritation around the bronchholio from things like hemorrhoids, moisturizing and skincare, keeping things nice and hydrated with aloe or essential oils included, potential pain relief if you have sensitive skin or raging flaming fire diarrhea from Applebee's. Grab yourself some CBD toilet paper, providing relief. And it turns out toilet paper that is produced from hemp is a pretty eco-friendly option from traditional toilet paper. And it should be noted, hemp has a long history of use in paper production. Hemp toilet paper was recognized as having eco-friendly properties compared to traditional wood pulp toilet paper. Now, it should be noted, they claimed that people have used hemp and hemp-based toilet paper for some time. And as I begin to look into this and try to buy it, and I was shopping around, Nordic Botanics announced their CBD-infused toilet paper on April 1st, 2020. And here's the thing, guys. It's an April Fool's prank. And here, me, 5 years later, fell for it. I thought it was real. From what I can tell, it is not. I could not find a real CBD toilet paper product anywhere out there. But they got me. Guys, 5 years later, the CBD toilet paper got me. And I'm mad. My time has been wasted in vigorous Google and internet searching to purchase a product that does not exist. They got me. And I think it flew under the radar because April 1st, 2020 was smack dab in the middle of COVID-19, the novel coronavirus. That was the toilet paper panic of that spring. And they decided, you know what? We're going to capitalize. We've got a product for you. 420 paper. Cannabis booty paper. And I'm going to be honest, ever since I heard about this paper about a year ago, really, but then I heard about it again when I was doing research for Ranked, I thought to myself, not knowing anything about how marijuana interacts with our system at the time, I said, CBD toilet paper. Now, it's a scientific understanding that enemas get things moving because it's a good way to introduce something to the bloodstream through the butthole. And here I am wondering, if I wipe my butt with CBD toilet paper, am I going to get super high through the butthole? And I think that somewhere out there, one day, there will be a market, not just for CBD toilet paper, for people that need to soothe that little old starfish. But there's going to be a market for THC toilet paper. For those who want to get zooted through the boot zooted. And I'm confident that will happen because there is no shortage of ways that people have found to take in marijuana. And I'm confident that it's only a matter of time, if they haven't already, that they will begin taking it in via the butthole, via a toilet paper related experience. But as for now, CBD toilet paper is completely fake and I fell for the prank. Nordic Botanics, you got me. Guilty as charged. This brings us to the end of another episode of Privy. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening to the show. This show would not be possible without you. And so thank you for listening. Thank you for those of you who have been a part of our communities online, whether it's the Privies or the Privy socials. Go follow us on those. But what I would say is if you would just take a few minutes of your time. This is my pitch. I only do this a handful of times a year. But this is my pitch to you. If you would right now, open up your podcatcher of choice. Spotify, Apple Podcasts both have it, and others might, but I'm not sure. And if you would leave the show a rating, that's the star. 5-star options are preferred, but if you're like, I'm feeling 3 or 4 stars, be honest about it. That's okay. I'm not here to panhandle, but 5-star options are preferred. Leave us a rating if you would. That helps people see the show. If they see, oh, this show's getting some ratings, it helps people when they search bathrooms, when they search whatever, it helps populate it. The other thing, if you really want to help and be a superb listener, and many of you have already like plus 30'd your way through, leave us a review, a written review. I will read written reviews left on Apple Podcasts, and I've been trying to read written comments left on Spotify Podcasts here on the show. America has recently asked me if I would do an episode on the best bathroom movie scenes. Now, America, thank you for writing in. I think this is former guest on the show, Titus Domini. But I will say we have done an episode on scary movies, bathroom scenes in scary movies. And we've also done an episode on bathroom scenes in comedy movies. We do have some bathroom scenes in other genres of movies on the horizon, and I would encourage you to go check those out. But thank you for the suggestion. It is noted. Leave us comments, ratings, and reviews. The 5-star options are preferred. And every rating and review you leave, we'll donate $1 or a little bit more for written reviews to the Wounded Warriors and Living Water International as a reminder to keep pooping in the free world. This free world has not always been free, and it's thanks to the commitment and the sacrifice of strong men and women who fought for our country to make it a little more free. We want to give a little money back to them as a way of saying thank you, and we're doing that through these rating reviews as a way of me thanking you for leaving the review. Also, to Living Water International is a reminder that not everyone has clean water, and we're pursuing cleaner water for all. Leave those rating and reviews. It would greatly help me. It would greatly help the show, but it would also be an opportunity if you're like, that's cool. I want to see if I can get Hunter to donate some money, and so I'm going to do this and jack that up. That's fine. Be my guest. Go for it. Leave us a message, an email, privycast@gmail.com. Follow us on social media. We're at Privycast. You can follow me. I'm at Owlet7. If you're brave, go check out Randy Bowles at Randy Bowles. There is a link to a Sticker Mule store in the socials and on our website, www.privy-cast.com. Go check out the store. I will admit some of the stickers are more expensive than I want. I'm working on figuring out how to finagle the price, but many of them you can get a pack of 10 for about $10, and you can get them and share them with a friend, and we're working on adding more stuff to the Sticker Mule store. Go check that out. Thanks to Kevin and Podington for the use of their music this week. You can find their links in the Ding Dong description down below. Go check that out. This has been another episode of Privy. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this community. We love y'all. Keep pooping in the free world. Own your stank. Make sure you wash back there. Just scrub it down. And now, as always, don't forget to flush.